ポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Hey guys, Kakarot197 again. This time with a review of the real great Wing Gundam from the Gundam Wing anime, provided to me by my favorite online hobby store, Hobbylink Japan. Links to buy your own Bird Gundam down below. And this kit sure puts the wing in Wing Gundam. Rather than just being able to split in half, the wings completely unfold, just like a bird. And while I was worried about how sturdy this was going to be when I first saw it, I was pleasantly surprised. Not only is it easy to open up without feeling that you're going to rip them off, but even when they're in their compact mode, the pieces also stay together quite well. I'm not saying these wings are my favorite thing about this model kit, but... Oh, and the rest is pretty cool too. You know, the usual real great stuff. No seam lines, a bit of undergating, sharp details, and two-tone colors with the white. And of course, we also get a giant sticker sheet with marking stickers, silver detail up stickers, and some metallic green ones to go over the clear green pieces on the model to really make them pop. The one exception being the sticker for the chest sensor, which goes underneath the green piece. So the only sticker that you really have to use is one of the eye sticker options. I use the all-in-one, but as always, you also have the option of having the black piece as a separate sticker, and then each eye as an individual sticker. Sufficient to say, even straight out of the box, this kit looks very impressive for its size. And underneath the armor, it is basically the same story. It's not the most detailed thing in the world, but it still manages to do a very admirable job. Not to mention that the only pieces of advanced MS joint are the connectors for the wings, resulting in a very solid feeling model kit. But let's put those wings and the armor back on and have a look at the accessories that this thing comes with. And its most famous accessory is, of course, the Buster Rifle, which is also one of the strongest weapons in the Wing universe. And this is a beautiful rendition of it. We have two-toned gray, and we also have a little opening gimmick for those energy canisters that are on there. Admittedly, I did prefer it like how the Master Grade did it, with it folding open like a shotgun, but this is pretty cool too, and as you've guessed, you can of course remove all three of the canisters, but unfortunately, we do not get any spare ones. We do get a right trigger finger hand that fits on there very securely with the help of a peg. Then you simply attach it to the Wing Gundam and it's ready to destroy whatever is on its path. And just as with the clear green parts on the mobile suit, there is a clear green piece for the sensor, and you have the option to put a metallic green sticker over it, which is what I did. Which is also something you can do for the sensor on the shield, but I decided not to use the sticker on that thing. And I gotta say, this shield really is a work of art. It's gray and really nicely detailed on the inside, and the way it opens up to reveal the beam saber is super cool. When you open it up, the beam saber actually is on a little mechanism so that it goes outwards, and when you push it back in, you will see the beam saber retracting, fitting nicely in there, just like it does in the anime. And then you simply pull out the beam saber, grab one of the two holding hands that also have a peg in there so it fits super securely, and then hook it all up to the Wing Gundam with one of the two included beam saber blade effect parts. Just keep them away from any shuttles that you don't want sliced in half. Going back to our amazing shield then, there is unfortunately one thing that they could have done better, and that is that this fin on the top is quite loose. I've had it fall out a couple of times, and another part that has fallen off a few times now is this green sensor. Although, oddly enough, when I was building it, it was super secure, and it wasn't until I was preparing for the review that this thing suddenly started falling out all the time. So yeah, this thing definitely seems to have gotten a little bit loose. Anyways, how to attach the shield? You simply click this onto one of the arms. And when on the arm, it can also go in and out and rotate around. And then the final accessories are a pair of open palm hands for some very nice actiony poses, and also a action-based connector to help you with those poses. Unfortunately, this time around, we're not getting a tiny in-scale pilot figure. So let's move on to the articulation of this thing. The head is on a hinge and ball joint combo, going nicely backwards, nicely forwards, will rotate around all the way, and of course also goes forwards and backwards. Then the shoulders themselves will go nicely forwards like that, a little bit backwards, up and down even, and especially when you have it extended, they'll go forward, they'll go upwards even further. But then the sides of the body, there goes that little piece. I'm not going to put that back in because it's just going to fall out again. So as I was saying, the sides of the body themselves can also go forwards to aid you with that forwards shoulder movement. So if you want to make some dynamic slashing poses or whatever else you want to do with this, this is some really cool engineering on a relatively small real grade. And again, despite that complex articulation it's got going on, it is very solid feeling. Then the arms will go upwards nicely, rotate around all the way. They'll bend at the elbow on 2 joints, but of course, first we gotta move these claws out of the way. There we go. And then it'll go upwards about that far, which is as far as it'll go due to the design of the mobile suit. Then the hands are on ball joints, will wiggle around, turn around, and do everything a ball joint does. Then the waist is also quite nice. We've got a triple forwards joint, 2 hinges, and a ball joint, and they also take care of the backwards movement. We've got 1 swivel joint for the side-to-side movement in there, and well, technically the ball joint also helps a little bit with that. And then on that ball joint, it'll also rotate around all the way. Unfortunately, the one thing it doesn't have is an opening cockpit. But let's quickly forget about that by having a look at the backpack. We have these cute little movable thrusters there, they move together, and then we've got the superbly articulated wings. First up, the whole assembly goes up and down, in and out, and then the individual pieces will also move. We've got the white and yellow that moves up, and then the red will also go in and out a little bit. And then of course you can spread them out. And even after having done it a couple of times, the wings still feel very solid. Like I said in the beginning, I am very impressed with these things. Then the front skirts are on ball joints. They'll go up about that far, allowing the legs to go forwards about that far. Now the funny thing is, the limiting factor here is actually the front skirts. You could try to gently move them up further, but then they're just going to pop out, allowing the legs to go quite a bit further. And then we have that extra hip joint that we've seen with quite a few models that gives it even more forwards movement. But as I just said, the problem isn't the hip, the problem is the front skirt. So if you want to pose like this, you kinda gotta jam the front skirt in there and pretend that it's still attached. And then for the backwards movement, it is a similar story. The back skirt does move a little bit, but of course the legs do have much more backwards movement in them. And in case you're wondering, that extra joint in the hips does not have a locking mechanism like on something like the new Gundam. As for the outwards movement then, it was almost the same story, but they added some extra joints in there to prevent that from happening. So on the normal ball joint, it goes out about that far, allowing the legs to only go up that far. But then there's a double hinge joint in there to allow you to carefully move the side skirt to the back, allowing the legs their full range of sideways movement. If only there was a system like that for the front skirts. Then the legs will rotate around all the way, bend at the knees on 2 joints, although they are hindered a little bit by that thruster there. And then the feet are on the usual hinge and ball joint combo. They'll go very nicely forwards, they'll go a little bit backwards, they'll rotate around, they'll go side to side a little bit, and then we also get a toe joint. So when it comes to the Wing Gundam's articulation, it's quite easy to tell where they put all of their effort. The wings and the torso are absolutely amazing. And then the legs, well, they do what they should do, but nothing more. Fortunately, once you put them on an action base, that is not going to matter whatsoever. And you know what we're also going to need that action base for? For the bird mode. So let's get transforming. And for the most part, things went about as expected. The Wing Gundam's transformation is rather simple by design, so overall things went quite smoothly. But of course, it wouldn't be a real grade without a little bit of over-engineering, like on the legs, where you have to dislocate them and then bend them into shape. It works, it just feels kinda scary to do it on something as fragile as a real grade. For landing purposes then, all you have to do is extend this piece on the back skirt, and now your bird can land. And talking about the bird mode, don't you think it doesn't really look like a bird? It needs a more birdier mode, or birder mode, or even the birdust mode. Or so one of the Bandai engineers thought when he or she came up with the following transformation. The manual doesn't tell you exactly how to do it, but there are pictures to guide you. And, well, it's easy to do, and the result is interesting. Also, I know the pictures displayed without the Buster Rifle, but this is my bird, and my bird gets the Buster Rifle. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And for fans of the Wing Gundam, this is absolutely a model kit to consider. For a good price, 3,200 yen, you're getting a very nice rendition of this titular mobile suit. And perhaps most importantly, unlike its anime counterpart, it's not going to explode anytime soon. It's not without its problems, but it's totally one of those model kits where the pros outweigh the cons. It might not be the best real grade, but it is definitely a solid entry, both literally and figuratively. And hey, there's a solid argument to be made that it is the best fully transformable real grade. Then for some size comparisons, here it is next to its arch nemesis, the real grade Tall Geese, and another transformable real grade, the Zeta Gundam. Then here it is next to the high grade Wing Gundam and Wing Gundam Zero, followed by a bunch of Leos. And finally, here it is next to the standard size Gym Custom and the always bulky Zaku 3. And as per usual, we see how Bandai couldn't give a flying Zex about scale, because this 16.3 meter Gundam, V-fin included, is virtually the same size as the 19 meters Gym Custom, antenna included. Standing at roughly 12.3 centimeters tall as a model kit, that would make the Wing Gundam 17.7 meters tall. But that has been all for this review of Big Bird. Again, if you want your own, links down below. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great day, and I'll see you all next time.